Hello and welcome. Today, I want to discuss basically the finale and do a little discussion on a draft that was had by the three top players playing for the cash money reward of terraforming solo challenge, whatever competition. Link in the Discord if you want to join the chats. But anyways, they asked if I could take a look at their bans and their drafts and their stuff to see about what I think about what's going to happen, what I think maybe is the best, or what have you. So that you know, the way this worked was that there was 20. Everybody is going to play a game of solo TM, and they're going to be able to put in whatever cards that they've drafted throughout the course of a draft. We'll talk about it in a second. At any time during their run. On any generation. So they still have to pay for them and stuff, but then they can be like, oh, on generation 3, I'm going to take this card. On generation 4, I'm going to take this one from their pool of drafted cards, right? And then they're going to try and get the highest score possible. And specifically, standard projects are allowed, other than building cities, but they come with a -1 point penalty for doing them. And you can't use any other cards that you haven't drafted and purchased in. So, what happened first? Well, the phase 1 was banning a common pool of cards that nobody could draft from. Then they took turns drafting, and then they banned 3 corporations based on that. So starting off with the bans, I'm not going to go through them in order. It was interesting, but all over the place. Exactly what I expected happened. There was the death of science. Blah, 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 blah. They got rid of almost all of the discount cards, Research Outpost included, except for a couple of the space discount cards like shuttles and space stations, and very notably Earth Office, which I thought would definitely get banned, but maybe somebody was hoping to get it early. Big points cards, Viral Enhancer, 1 point animals, obviously that's big. Security Fleet, that's okay. That was the last ban, I think. Physics Complex, good. Advanced Alloys, Electro Catapult, and Strip Mine are all really strong economic engine things that got banned. Arctic Algae is just too powerful. And then, because there's a -1 point to buying oceans with standard projects, they banned aquifer pumping and water imports to make that even harder. They also got rid of Giant Ice Asteroid, Deimos Down, Large Convoy, and Nitrogen Rich, because these are also powerful cards. So basically, they neutered the deck with 21 banned cards, and they also banned, this was in Phase 3 after seeing the draft, but Terractor, Credit Core, and Saturn Systems are all high capital, like starting money corporations with good rebate effects or Jovian money income, so ew. But we'll see what happens. So first, let's talk about Moose. Actually, first I'm going to talk about in general. It was funny to see the very first, like, there was almost like a meta to the draft. As soon as somebody picked up a couple of ocean cards, everybody was like, oh god, I better get the ocean cards before they're all gone. And then next up with plant cards, and people going for either a worm strategy, so getting lots of microbes, or we have some insects down here, getting all the plant tags, what have you. Next up, somebody grabbed a city or two, and then within like 2 or 3 rounds of drafting, all of the cities had basically been snagged up because everybody's like, oh god, I'm going to need a couple of those for the late game, and there might be none left. And then similarly with the 1 point animals, somebody grabs fish, somebody goes, oh crap, I need predators, somebody grabs birds. And very late there was livestock still on the table that got grabbed. But I just thought it was funny to see like a person go in for something and then everybody would react immediately. Another great example is Earth Office was grabbed by Moose, and immediately, because it's a snake draft that goes back and forth, Beast went and got acquired company and sponsors right after the other guy got Earth Office. So that was probably rage-inducing for a draft. Quite the counter picks. But let's talk about what they got. And I sorted them kind of like this. This first batch is their economy. So Earth Office is discounts, then you got investment loan to get some more money, and special design to get things out maybe easier, and field factory, metals, energy, income per Earth tag, natural preserve. Obviously, whoever got rid of Tractor was targeting Moose in that instance, I think, because they were obviously going for Earth, Earth, Earth. And then for plants, they were like nitrolithic moss, archaea bacteria, designed microorganisms, trees, and worms. And with 4 microbe tags, that's worth 2 income. And then steelworks, which is why they went a little bit heavy on the energy, it seems. For heat, they've got like 5 heat income, plus the ones from the board. Methane from Titan will help if they can get it out early enough to be useful. And then big asteroid. It's okay. It's okay. Ice cap melting, towing comet, artificial lake. That's 3 oceans. You get 1 for free, so he's going to need to buy 5 more, which, again, you lose a point. So you basically lose the point that the TR would normally give you. So that's a big expense. Ganymede colony, herbivores, and heat trapping. These are, so, again, economy, plants, heat, oceans, and now this is like general points. So they had some animal cards, local heat trapping, which might be used over here. Ganymede colony, because they have a Jovian, whatever. They're not Saturn systems or anything, so meh. And then there are 3 city cards for the board, so Cupola, capital, urbanized area. And I'm sure they'll put that through the northeastern pocket, capital in the 3 ocean adjacency spot, and then Cupola City and urbanized. Depends on where the neutrals are. You could get some extra value out of this, but overall, very strong. I like the engine. I like the Earth office. Sadly, they missed out on some of the good income cards. I think their oxygen is going to be fine with steelworks coming in. They're a little bit lacking on the heat and the oceans. Those are the big weak spots for Moose. Next up, let's look at, and it's Rabid Moose for the record, I think, just to get the actual name. Let me a second. I just wanted to say all their names out loud, and I'm pretty sure it's Rabid Moose, Thread Pacifist, and it's Large Rabid Moose. There you go. Thread Pacifist and Beastly Guy. So, Large Rabid Moose, Thread Pacifist, Beastly Guy. Perfect. So anyways, Thread. He did some interesting stuff for sure. Got some plant tags, all with insects at the top. So if he played insects after every other card, not saying he would, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plant tags. Not to mention if he was playing Eco Line or something, that's a lot of plants. Molehole area, very powerful. Could copy it. I put robotic workforce in this column because I'm like pretty sure that's what he would copy is for heat production, as opposed to getting a little bit more city income, or nuclear power isn't great to copy. So oceans, Lake Marineris, and then 3 more. So not bad. 5 oceans plus 1 for 3 free. He's still gonna need to buy 3 of them. Immigrant City is a really good cheap city, and then a couple of Noctis and Underground. Fine, very tolerable. Ecological Zone goes really well with all these plant tags for sure. He needs greenery up front though, so we'll see. It's always hard because you want to play that one early, but then you get it. Ants is a fun 1 for every 2, and he also a microbe card, and he also got Extreme Cold Fungus, so I could see that getting some points. Fish is powerful. Imported nitrogen, that goes with ants and fish, so that was well positioned. And advanced ecosystems, because obviously he's got microbes, plants, and animals. Really working in his favor here. And then I've also sorted out his points here. He got interstellar colony ship, which he got breathing filters and research, probably to enable that, because he only had 2 science tags over here. So that gets him up to the 5 he needs without needing to buy or choose like Inventrix for a science tag or something. And then because he's going to have so much heat between black polar dust and a molehole times 2, and then the 2 heat productions from the board, he can get rid of caretaker contract and tropical resort to use up that extra heat. Mining industries, I think, was a hate draft in case somebody tried to really stack them up. But it was so late and nobody really had Jovians that don't think it did very much. And then Beastly Guy. He, like I said, got the sponsors and acquired company, which is powerful, a lot of this stuff. But the big thing here is obviously the oceans. You throw down moss, kelp farming, and tundra farming. He can get a lot of the oceans early with subterranean, comet, and ice asteroid. None of those have restrictions for oceans down. You play adaptation technology, and bam, you've got algae or kelp farming. Both, in fact. I'll talk about the corpse in a second, but Inventrix in particular could help here to get +2 again. So, kelp farming with just 2 oceans down. You play Ice Asteroid, Adaptation, and then kelp. Could work out. Again, we've got 3 city cards. I think all of them ended up with 3 city cards, unless you want to count, Phobos and Ganymede Colony, which go in space, which I don't care about, because it's not really what we're after with these. Now, why are you in this column? You're a heat card. So heat production wise, there's like 5 heat production here between import and GHG, and then a couple extra from microbes. He's got symbiotic fungus, which I put over here, but realistically, it's going to help the GHGs catch up on the heat. So that's pretty good. Predators, livestock, small animals, Eoschasma, decomposers. I don't know when they'll play decomposers. That's a little bit hard to make a call on. I guess you have to wait on GHG and stuff anyway. And then, yeah, the energy, I think, is mostly going to be used to enable the cities and GHG. But he bought power plant pretty late. I was wondering if there was something specific that was coming out that he would need energy to do, but not really. He just needs 3 for his cities and 1 for here. So either way, pretty powerful. Space Station's fun as well, because you can make things cheap. But he doesn't have enough space cards to really make it worth it. It might have been a hate draft, but it's also a good point. So, but good animals for sure. And kelp farming can be so powerful so early. So it really comes down to what do I think these guys will pick for their corporations, Like Thread Pacifist is going to have Mohole ×2, Black Polar Dust. Geez, you throw in a Helion, that's lots. He's also got all these plant stuff, but sometimes the hard thing with the plants is enabling them, so getting the heat up quickly. This could help. Down at the bottom, I already mentioned Inventrix to be able to get out their cards faster, but if they're looking to get kelp farming out ASAP, maybe they grab Ecoline. Because again, they can put these cards in whenever they want. So you can go Ecoline with not very much money, get, your Ice Asteroid downrange and whatever, and then the next generation buy exactly as much as you can afford for plant cards for a generation. So that works out pretty well. Here, we have trees and a lot of plant production in ways, but also the steelworks, I think, is what they'd really like to get out early. For energy, though, it's hard to come by. You need that tectonic stress power, and to do that, you're going to need the science tags, which is where I think Natural Preserve came in and design microorganisms. So again, like Tharsis, I think, is one of the very strong ones because you get money back on cities, you get an extra city, which is going to help for that late game score. And then even Mining Guild, if you're going to be throwing down 4 oceans at the start of the game, do you just Mining Guild and, with your very first placement, get a whole bunch of steel income happening? Specifically, Beastly Guy has enough metal cards between the cities and the energy production and the factories, and even Eoschasma, that he can probably burn through a lot of steel, get early plant income, and then scoop up even more steel income. Right? It's just, I'm having a hard time trying to distinguish what the other people are looking for. Because again, Ecoline and Tharsis work well in almost all of their builds. Right? Helion is helpful, I think, to Thread, though I think Moose was looking for Tractor that got banned, so Earth Office is on its own. I did put away Thorgate, but maybe Thorgate just to get that early Steelworks. I doubt it, though. There's only 2 tags. It's hard to say. If I had to give my edge to anything, I think I was most impressed with Thread's draft. Again, Moose had first draft, but then it was a snake draft back and forth. So the both of these Beastly Guy and Moose were grabbing 2 cards at a time and then waiting for 4 picks, whereas Thread was always almost getting 1. 2 picks are happen, Thread grabs 1. 2 picks happen, Thread grabs 1. So it was hard to get catch him off guard. Like if you were Moose and Thread grabs an Ocean after you, and then Beastly Guy grabs 2 more Ocean cards, Thread grabs another Ocean card. Well, geez, how many Ocean cards are left for you to grab up, right? It's easier to get blocked, whereas Thread always can interject a little bit in that particular draft order, and I think it shows with how well balanced his cards were between cities, oceans, really powerful heat production, enough to scoop up a lot of really heavy point late game cards. I'm not sure how much he can afford. Phobos in particular scares me. But very weak on the engine side, like the money, cash dollars, where Moose really comes through with, money per Earth tag, Earth office, investment loans to really punch it through. And Beast has just, acquired company and sponsors, right? So you grab something that can play those cards. As soon as possible, you start throwing down your oceans to get out your algae. It's hard. This is a really good draft. I think all the players really showed that they had a good understanding of the game. Obviously, if you're part of this community, you probably know how to terraform the planet. And they all went for slightly different things. Obviously, like knowing that you'll need late game cities, knowing that 1-point animals are valuable. But I just keep coming back to Thread because I'm like, ants, fish, imported nitrogen, some big heavy point hitter cards. But then I come up here and I think Ganymede Colony, oh, that's a couple extra points here. Engine out the gate. But standard projects give you so little back, right? Like you're losing a point every time you do them when you normally wouldn't. So that's why I go, you get a little bit more here. 4 oceans here as well, plus the 1 for free. Symbiotic Fungus is powerful, but it's the -14, whereas Thread has Extreme Cold, but he's only doing it for points, so that's kind of like a hate draft between them. They've all done a great job. Decomposers you can get out earlier if you play Adaptation Technology. It's wild. It's absolutely wild, and I cannot wait to see how this shakes down. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys want, you can post either in the Discord or in the comments of this video who you think has the best build. And at this point, it's hard for me to say which one I think is going to come out on top. I really think that this Ocean strat is tried and true. I love Thread's balance between all of the metrics, like absolutely killing it in the plant department, doing really powerful in the heat department, and has the most oceans. So as far as terraforming the planet. But then Moose turns around and has a really good engine economy and the ability to pump out some metals. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how it went. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Cheers.